Hello and welcome back to the second annual Ghana Hemptech Conference. My name is Delisha L. Johnson and I am your host. And we are back for our last session before lunch. Today is Saturday and it's Hemp Day. Yesterday was Friday, which we talked about investment. Today is Saturday, which we're talking about hemp, and tomorrow we will talk about technology. So if you're watching from live on YouTube or live on any of the Facebook pages, thank you. We'll have some more speakers this afternoon to talk about aquaponics versus hydroponics and growing organic hemp as well as other things. But now I would like to introduce our next speaker. I met this man last year when I was doing the radio interviews for Ghana Hemp Tech Conference, the inaugural edition, and the words that came out of his mouth at the pace in which they did and the accuracy, I was completely blown away. So I asked him to come to the Ghana Hemp Tech Conference this year and give you a small dose of what I got when I met him. But he will be talking about the history of hemp. So please welcome to the second annual Ghana Hemp Tech Conference, African Google. Please welcome him.
Thank you very much, Empress Davisha. Yeah, glad to be here. First and foremost, it's a greetings to one and all here. Yeah, blessings. Well, I'm happy that this Hemptech conference is a continuous going on. Last year, when it happened, I told the organizers, especially Davisha, that it shouldn't be a 90-day wonder. And I'm glad that it's continuous assessment. Everything is about gradual, and we'll get its pinnacle. Give thanks once again. Well, it's about Hemptech, and we all know there is history behind everything. Everything that is history. Cannabis also has a very nice and very interesting, wonderful history that I would like to share with you in a summary of it. Yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. The history is more global, actually. Uh, Hemp, we all know cannabis sativa, acid botanical name, have been used since creation from ages because it's a plant, and every plant is just like any other plant on the face of the earth, which has been used by me. Dated way back in 500 BC, it was being used by the Asians who would use it for mostly medical purposes and other things like that. But it got to the world point of view when the adventurers, European adventurers, I'm talking about Christopher Columbus, talking about Diego Vespucci, Amerigo Vespucci, entered the Americans. In American lands, it was where that they got to know about the hemp more. This I'm talking about the middle of the 16th century, right on from 1500 right on about. It was there they got to know about the hemp more. By the Indians who've been using it from way back in terms of medical purposes. In fact, this hemp that the European adventurers saw in America boosted Europeans more migrating to America, all because of the hemp business. A lot of European businessmen left the land of Europe and entered into America, the Newfoundland, basically more because of the marijuana, the cannabis sativa. But right from the 16th century to 17th century, marijuana was so much boosted in America that everybody wanted to have a feel of in terms of farming and cultural aspect of it. It was also accepted by all ethnic. Right through the 17th century, because of industrial purposes like the rope, oil, and other things being gained out of marijuana, it became a multi-million-dollar crop. In the state of Virginia, Virginia made a law that everyone should plant marijuana in his backyard also. It even prompted that in the 17th century areas there, the first president of America, talking about George Washington, and their wife, Martha, had a marijuana farm in a place called Mount Vernon. That hemp was grown. In fact, they grow hemp basically for industrial purposes that they use it for ropes, oil, and other things of that sort. In fact, it was being used for a rope to anchor ship. And anchoring a ship with a kind of a rope of marijuana makes it more effective and very solid. Right on through the history, marijuana was being accepted by all. Businessmen, businesswomen invested in marijuana, in the sales of marijuana, in its agriculture and other aspects. It was hailed by many, it was hailed by all. Notwithstanding that, researchers also were being made research to find out the medicinal aspect of marijuana. It boosted a Scottish doctor by name Sir William O'Shaughnessy, who left England and went into India, just for the research of marijuana. In 1831, Dr. O'Shaughnessy brought about the first medical medicine made out of herb in the aspect of cholera and other things like that. In fact, it was accepted by all. In 1848, a French doctor also by name Jacques Moore also brought out a book by name How Hemp Can Be Treated in the Psychiatry, in terms of how we can use hemp in the psychiatry. It was also accepted by all. In 1850, marijuana entered into what is called the pharmacopoeia, that is the documented data aspect of herbs. It entered into the pharmacopoeia, that is to say, it was recorded as one of the pharmaceuticals in the world. In fact, hemp was adapted and accepted by one and all. The hemp also made a whole lot of progress in terms of agricultural industrial purposes. That way back, hemp was used by one and all. In fact, hemp growth became so much accepted by all that during the Mexican Revolution, talking about the 1910 revolution of the Mexican Revolution, it was there that influx of the Mexicans who headed to America also boosted it up in terms of the recreational purposes. Previously, before that, hemp was used by industrial purposes, but right on through the beginning of the 20th century. Yes, sir. Right through the beginning of the 20th century, the recreational aspect of hemp in terms of the smoking became widely accepted by all. In fact, it was there that the term marijuana came about, which was from the Mexicans, who apparently used the term marijuana for cannabis. In fact, the smoking aspect became more that the American government found it a little bit insecure about the way people were going out with the smoking aspect of the hemp. In fact, then from 1920, the crispation about the hemp began in terms of negative propaganda against the hemp. Right in 1931, the Federal Bureau of Narcotics was set up in America just to fight the hemp out. Naming a man called Harry Anslinger became the first boss of the narcotics control in America. In fact, from 1931 right up to 1938, hemp was being fought by the forces of America in terms of security purposes. It fought hard that 1938, hemp was accepted and also made what is called the narcotics tax law that prohibited people from possessing marijuana. That was 1938. Samuel Caldwell was the first person to be slapped by the hemp, victim by the hemp sentence of 44 years imprisonment. After that, marijuana was being fought against. But 1942, during the Second World War, the resurrection of hemp rose up again because hemp product was needed in terms of the war, and then products such as shoe and other things and fabric was made out of the hemp. After the Second World War, the hemp crucifixion also began again. Worldwide, hemp users were being brutalized by the forces all over. In 1950, Pinnacle, an inhabitant, a marijuana farm in Jamaica, was being demolished, mostly inhabited by Rastafarians in Jamaica. Then from there, hemp was being brutalized all over. In fact, 1972, Richard Nixon also made a war against drugs, mostly the hemp. Brutalized it from 1972 to 1972. Hemp was being brutalized and lost in America. But notwithstanding that aspect, yes, still hemp was being checked out to realize that it can be beneficial in terms of business-wise. So 1972, rather than 1976, the Dutch government by then realized that no, it got to really legalize hemp in Amsterdam. So 1976, we had coffee shops in Amsterdam and elsewhere that hemp was being, and money was coming out of it from the Dutch government. Notwithstanding, in 1982, American governments such as Bush and Reagan, Nancy Reagan, fought hard against the hemp, all just to marshal the hemp out of the way. But 1994, Uruguay president Jose Magusa realized that no, he has to legalize the hemp. And so in 2013, Uruguay became the first European country that legalized the hemp for its usage. But before that, prior to that, in 2012, Colorado, the first state in America, also legalized marijuana. became the first state in America to legalize marijuana in Washington as well. And hemp began to rise up, or resurrection of the hemp boost up again. Notwithstanding that in 2013, when the Uruguay president legalized it, in 2014 legalized it for farming, that every resident can plant a hemp in his backyard or something like that. 2018, Justin Trudeau of Canada also realized that no, resurrection time has come. She also setting that base and said hemp was legalized in Canada. As I'm talking about, in 2019, almost about 10 to 15 states in America has legalized hemp, not only there, but in other countries as well, has also begun to legalize hemp for recreational and business purposes in South Africa and other places as well. Well, it's a good news. We hope that more leaders of the world embrace the hemp and that aspect of positive and industrial purposes, and especially African leaders who also embrace the legalization of the hemp to save the generation and the next generation. Thank you very, very, very much for giving me this platform to share with you a little history about marijuana. Alicia, thank you.
Bless. Ouch.
Thank you, African Google. Please give him a round of applause. So I want to make sure that everyone that's watching online understands that this conference is not just about business or investment or technology or people just talking or people just coming here to eat good food. It's about getting good information. And this man just told you not only about the history of hemp and marijuana, but how that ties into all of these other things. The world around us is so big and there's so many things going on. But as he said, everything has a history, but all things are also tied together. So him being here to talk about him, and then the export promotion lady came, Ruth, came previous to him and talked about exporting. So we know the history of how things are done, and we know what we can look for the future, how to change it to make it better. So with collaboration of people like African Google, people like Ruth, people like Dr. Daniel, that we'll be working with farmers here in Ghana, not just to tell them, oh, you need to go train how to export, but they need information like what African Google just provided. So they know that the hemp and the marijuana, the seeds are different, they will produce different things, but you need to have the education. So I appreciate him for coming to educate us on the history of hemp, so that we can move forward with a better understanding of how we can make this industry great in Ghana. So as we continue for this day, we are going to break for lunch. I'm sorry if those of you online that do not be enjoying Slappy and Banku that we are about to enjoy. But we will see you after lunch for our next presenters this afternoon. This has been the second annual Ghana Hemptech Conference. I'm your host, Delisha L. Johnson, and we'll be back after lunch. Thank you.